Hello and welcome to the very first ever Aunty M podcast with me, Aunty M.
And me, Aunty P.
Hi P, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Em. How are you?
I'm good. So this is our first ever podcast. How are you feeling?
Slightly nervous, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to say.
Okay, well, you know, we always end up with stuff to say, so you'll be fine. So in the Aunty M podcast, we strive to answer all your problems, big and small. No judgment, but we do like to say that we are not trained professionals in this, but we I think between the two of us, we've been through everything, haven't we, P?
I'd say a fair amount of everything,
I think
although...
Fair amount. I think we've been there, done that. I think we've certainly seen a lot, been all around, and we would like to share our knowledge and wisdom with all of you. This week we'll be talking about friends and friendships, especially now that we are of older ilk. Keeping friends, how to make new friends. So, P, how long have we been friends?
Oh, I think we were 10 or 11 when we met.
Yeah.
Up at the Froome College campus.
So
When we were both bunking our Saturday morning classes.
Yeah, that was, well, to put an age on it, that was 30 years ago.
30 years.
30 years! I mean, you know, I always knew of you. I feel like I've always known you.
Oh.
But yeah, we did theatre classes together, didn't we?
Yes, we did, but not till we were 13. So initially I was forced to do dance and I wasn't allowed in the drama group on Saturdays, but you were running away from the drama group on a Saturday and that's how we met. I don't know, someone had upset you. Something had happened. Anyway, we bonded.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I missed the drama. But yeah, so we've been friends a long, long time, and we've got quite a close friendship group. There's 4 of us in like quite, you know, a tight friendship group, and one of them, I've known Helen since I was 4 years old. You've known Helen as well, haven't you?
Yeah, only since I was 13, so I'm missing a good 9 years on you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because Helen's great.
She is. And Catherine, that's our close. We've got 4 friends. And I'm sure all people out there listening will know what we're talking. There'll be perhaps a friend that you've had for a very long time how would you approach like keeping friendships over all these years, P? What do you think the magic of that is?
I just need to add that I've actually known Catherine since preschool, so she is actually my oldest friend, and I think we've been friends for we were 3 when we met, 3 years old. So
yeah, that's amazing, because that would be like me and Helen. Then me and Helen have known each other since we were like about 4 years old, from first day of school, and so you and Catherine knew each other. So we've sort of, you know, between us we've been friends for like almost 40
lives,
years. Yeah, it's mad. I mean, what would you say is like the secret ingredient to keeping friendships like that?
I think it's keeping in touch, even if that keeping in touch is, you know, there's been a year or 6 months or maybe even a couple of years between speaking to each other, because it's that a true friend to me is someone who you may not have seen for the longest time, but when you get back together, it's exactly the same as if you'd just been talking yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's that thing of like, it's not a judgment that you haven't called me or that we didn't meet, you know, that it's literally like you just pick up where you left off last time, however long ago that was. And it's like nothing's changed.
Yeah. And I think those kind of friends are golden. I think I read a quote somewhere about, you know, you only have 5 good friends like that in your life. And I feel I'm very blessed because I feel like I've got more friends like that in my life than 5, for sure.
I mean, there's actually quite a lot of people I know who aren't in contact with anybody they were at school with. Like they were quite happy to literally just move on and leave those people behind for whatever reason. And they've made their friends other ways, best friends in other places. I mean, do you have best friends from somebody that you keep in contact with that's not from school?
Oh yeah, loads. So I've got my lovely friend Claire. Hi Claire, from uni. I've got I lived in Moscow for a couple of years, and I've got my beautiful friend Olga, who is Russian but lives in Portugal now, in Madeira.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not many people.
You can't
As
have
I
too many people.
No, you can't have too many people. But I would say, for me, I'm someone who makes those kind of long, deep friendships, and then not with too many people.
Yeah.
I'm quite selective.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, I mean,
or I'm crap at keeping in touch.
Yeah. yeah. Basically, thing is, though, once you have a certain number of friends, how can you keep in touch with them? Like, how can you maintain that relationship with somebody over that amount of time and keep that level of intensity up? To say, oh, we are, I suppose, what someone would call best friends. You couldn't do it. I
No,
mean, I'm like you. I've lived in many places around the world, and I've made all these lovely, lovely people that are friends. But I couldn't keep up with them the same way I keep up with you guys. I'd just be exhausted.
Well, I've just been doing a quick Wikipedia check.
Yes.
Ask the experts. Found a page about Dunbar's number. Dunbar's number is a suggested cognitive limit to the number of people with whom one can maintain stable social relationships. Relationships in which an individual knows who each person is and how each person relates to every other person. And the number is approximately 150 stable relationships.
100 stable relationships?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's extrapolating from the results of primates.
Okay. So chimpanzees have like 150 mates.
That's like increasing for brain size in humans.
Right.
So chimpanzees probably only have like 50 mates.
50 mates. Well, I suppose, yeah. I mean, I would have said, I was literally waiting for you to say, have 6 friends. Like that's the limit of friends. But that's that's a lot. I feel like I would need to be at uni to know 150 people.
Well, I think certainly for me, like as I've aged, my social life has obviously declined or decreased, I want to say, not with the negative. So like I don't go clubbing anymore. I do fewer fun, inverted commas, activities. I'm in less groups. So I socialise less. So I would say I maintain fewer casual friendships than I did when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, but I think that's one thing, isn't it, that's really hard, is that what they don't, young people, I mean, you can't tell young people anything anyway, but I mean, to tell them like, when you leave school, it's totally different. When like, do you remember we used to know everybody in our year at school? We knew everybody's name.
Yeah.
And you might not be friends with everybody, but you knew who everyone's friendship group. You knew everybody's name. And if somebody said, oh, Liz so-and-so or Helen or whatever, blah, 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 you'd be like, yeah. And she's going out with, and he's in year 10 or, do you know what I mean? When you leave school, you've gone from like 200. I mean, how many was there? Like 200 in our year at college? You've gone from like knowing like 200 people. And even in uni, I mean, it was like, it felt a lot, but it did get less. And then you just go out in the real world and you're like, you feel totally at sea because you've gone from having this group. I mean, what they're saying in that scale, I can see that 150 people that we knew and we were invested in their lives in some way, to like 5 or 6 people suddenly, and then you're thinking about, how do I make friends? Because you were just thrown together at school.
Yeah, and certainly I would say not everyone, no offense to any listeners here, but not everyone I was at school with. was my friend.
Not my friend.
Some of them were frenemies. Some of them were,
I mean, it would change.
downright enemies. Not going to lie.
It would change week on week, man.
Huh?
It would change week on week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then it sort of settles in sixth form, I guess, to your, or in sort of when you get to 16, 18, it sort of settles. But yeah, I mean, it is a strange transition, and I think work is a really important area to make friends. And I feel like I've had certainly since leaving uni, there was definitely like a lonely patch between sort of 23 and 26, but you guys kind of came back, and we got back in touch, and I moved back to the small town where we come from. And so I had a few friends, but definitely less. And then people's lives get busy and people move away, and it was a difficult transition. But then the majority of my really close friends since then have been because of work.
Yeah, but I think it's really important that you learn. I think this is when you're talking about work, people sort of say, oh, you spend more time with people you work with than you do your family or your friends that you choose. And it's like at school, like you're thrown together with this range of people that you might never choose to be your friends, but you need a little group. And I know every job I've worked, I've always found somebody who's my I would like partner in crime. That's somebody who you can absolutely, you both have the same opinions about everybody, and you both have this sort of the same attitude to what, you need that person, because otherwise work would be hellish, wouldn't it? It would just be hellish.
Yeah, you need that person to chat at the metaphorical water cooler with.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the impact of COVID and all the people working from home, and how is that going to affect people's friendships and ability to make those friendships and forge those bonds when the friendship is made over a Zoom call.
Because like Dom, my husband, who started a new job during COVID, hasn't even met in person all these hundreds of people that he has Zoom calls with every day. And I just find it so weird, like that he's not going into his office is our dining room, and the person he has lunch with is me. And I'm like, he should be creating a relationship, and he really does. You can tell he really misses having that relationship with somebody, at work. And not having that physical. So that must have been really tough. There's so many people I've heard of that started new jobs during COVID, and they just met everybody through a screen.
Yeah, and if any of you out there listening want to email us and let us know if you've had a similar experience, we can talk about it next time.
Oh, we'd love to.
Can you email us on
the auntympodcast@gmail.com? Ba-da! Right, go ahead.
What does the average person have? What would you say?
10. God, but are we counting best friends, or like
what you would?
I know that person.
Okay, very close. This is an American Gallup poll from 2004.
Oh right. Okay.
But the article was written into 2019.
Okay.
It says that 8 to 9. The average is 8 to 9.
All right, it wasn't far off then.
So 39% of Americans in 2004 had 3 to 5 close friends. Yeah. And only 27% had 10 or more friends. So Dunbar says we can have 5 intimate bonds, 15 close friends, 50 friends, and 150 casual friends.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I would agree with that then. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, what's that saying? Someone's in your for you're going to know
reason, a season, or a lifetime.
That's it. A reason, a season, or a lifetime. And it's really interesting, because I do have several friends who were totally in my life for like intensely, like a best friend intensely for a moment in time, and then they're just gone. I don't even know where they are.
Oh.
Do you have anybody like that? Was that just me? did I just manage?
No. I've definitely had friends for seasons. Particularly like, again, for work when I've moved places. But I would say also, you know, some of my childhood friends were in my life for seasons or reasons rather than lifetimes. And I think some friendships, you know, you learn from, and some friendships burn you, and sometimes you are intensely friends with someone and then it all goes wrong, a bit like a relationship. You know, a romantic relationship, although, you know, it's a platonic friendship, but sometimes you can learn valuable life lessons from maybe friendships that aren't so healthy, or friendships that end in a sad or a bad way.
I think something I've learned really important that I didn't have as a child or a teenager, and I have now, is I do not hang around with people. I do not suffer people if I feel like I'm not getting anything from a friendship.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was younger, I would not put up with it, but I would really try and be like, I really want to be friends with this person. But as I've got older, I've sort of thought, no, I don't. I'm sorry. Nothing about against you. I mean, obviously, I'm against them. you just kind of get to a point where you're like, you know, no, actually, I don't want to be friends with you. So
yeah, and I don't have the time.
I don't have the time. I mean, I'm going to give you an example, and maybe our listeners have had somebody like this. I had a friend, and I won't name names. Let's call this person. Let's call this person Isabel, right? So me and Isabel were in a really similar, you know, this like friends for a reason. And this person was so, this sounds such a petty reason, and I apologize. This friend was so late, was every time we met, was so late in coming round to see me. And I'm not talking 5-10 minutes. I'm talking like by 3 hours.
Ooh.
And I loved this friend, and I really, we were, I think we were too similar though, but I'm such a stickler for time, and they were late by like 3 hours once, and I almost lost my mind waiting for them. And I just thought, I can't be friends with this person. And I still feel really bad. I just kind of ghosted them. And also every time I don't know if you've got a friend like this, if you've got somebody you text and then they won't text back for like 6 weeks, and then they'll text you as if nothing's happened. But I wasn't, you know, we were talking earlier about that friendship where you go, oh, it doesn't matter. You know, but this friendship, it did matter to me that they weren't responding. And so I just sort of thought, this isn't right. This friendship, this doesn't feel right. I mean, at least I didn't have to break up with them. We weren't dating. Like I sort of rang up, said, I'm sorry, we can't do this anymore. I just kind of stopped. Was that rude? Was that rude of me?
Maybe. I mean, I don't really know. I'd have to go back to Dr. Google to find out about
Dear Google,
a friendship. I mean, I think for me, quite often it'll be geographical. I've moved around a lot, so quite often I'll just, you know, change jobs or move on. But yeah, no, I think ghosting someone is, you know, because you want it to look like you've just naturally slipped out of their life.
Yeah. So I'm just slipping out the back.
Friendship ghosting is probably not that healthy, but okay. I'm just going to Google how to end a friendship.
Oh, right.
Let's see what Dr. Google has to say.
I mean, Google is a doctor. Let's just... We've all diagnosed ourselves on Google.
Okay, so according to the website, Very Well Mind.
Right, hit me.
How to end a friendship. You have to decide... Oh, before you decide how to break up with your friend, it's helpful to outline why you don't want to be friends. Yeah. Fine. Let's just say
you were always late.
I'm scrolling.
Stress me out.
Oh, yeah, there you go. In general, we can consider 4 healthy options when ending a friendship. Thank you, verywellmind.org. .com. The gradual fade out. This tactic involves letting the friendship come to a natural close by reducing social interaction. I think you did well there.
Yeah,
On that one.
that's kind of basically what I did.
Okay, and then second one you got having a talk.
Oh no.
Uh,
Avoid conflict.
Similar to the way that you would end a romantic relationship.
Oh, interesting.
Taking a break. So
Ooh.
following having the talk, you could then decide you can't resolve your differences and you can take a break from your friendship.
Yeah.
And finally, which actually may be more what you did, is end things immediately.
Get out!
Just walk away.
Have you, honestly though, P, have you ever sat a friend down and said, I think we need to go on a break? Because I don't think I'd ever do that. I think I would just be like, oh yeah, I don't want to be their friend.
No, my general response is either the gradual fade out or end things immediately.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a very snappy title, but it does mention ghosting.
Have you ever deleted somebody off Facebook and then they've messaged you and gone,
has that happened to you?
It looks like we're not friends anymore.
Oh my gosh. No, it's only happened to me with like men. Well, potential boyfriend material or not boyfriend material. That's the only time that's ever happened.
I sometimes, I reckon about once a year, do a cull on Facebook. If I think, no, we don't ever interact with each other, you're gone. And then I've had messages from people saying, oh, it looks like we're not friends anymore. What happened? And I'm like, oh no, I don't know what happened.
Oh no! You know everyone listening to this that is listening through Facebook is going to be wondering if that's them now. Mercedes.
Is that you? I don't think well look, maybe they are listening, and if you are listening, write in and tell me about your experience.
Okay, so verywellmind.com does say that ghosting, ending communication with someone without telling them, is a controversial topic, but you should know that sometimes it's okay to end a friendship without speaking to the other person. Like, all the time. I feel like it's weird because I think friendships are very important relationships, especially those intense, close friendships that can form those seasonal friendships, if you like, or reasonable friendships, if that's a word. But I do think that most friendships probably do end in ghosting. Like you said, I can't imagine anyone sitting me down and saying, sorry, we can't be friends anymore. It's never happened, even when people have, even when, and I will admit this, I have behaved badly in friendships and had friends not want to be my friend anymore. That's happened to me. But it's always been a case of politely leaving me on their Facebook and then just stopping talking to me.
Just fading you out, fading you out.
Fading me out.
If you'd like to write to the show and tell us about any problems, if you've been ghosted, if a friend has sat you down, we actually really would like to hear about it. You can email us at auntympodcast@gmail.com, or you can contact us through one of our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. I've got all day. Let me know. So moving on, we are wizened women of the world, and we were talking about this, about how difficult it is to make new friends. I'm personally, I've moved back from living in France, and where I've lived for 7 years, and I've moved to the UK, and I'm trying to make new friends, which isn't as easy as it sounds. I still don't have anybody here I would say is a friend, like a best friend, like someone I can just pop round. I mean, I've sort of talked to friends. What about you, P? How are you? You've established yourself where you live at the minute, but do you find it hard to make new friends?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, like where I live. I mean, I think growing up in quite a local community, we could say we grew up in an area where everybody knew each other whether they wanted to or not, and in an era, in fairness, where everybody knew each other whether they wanted to or not, because it was pre-internet.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I live in London, in South London, and yeah, it's fair to say I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody who lives where I live. I know people who work where I
Right.
work, which is fairly close to where I live, but I don't socialise with them. And I know you, who lives now a good 40 minutes away, but that's close in
Oh
London
yeah,
terms,
in
I
London, I think
suppose.
in a city, if you live an hour from somebody, that's totally. I mean, you think that's public transport. You're totally like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm in. I'm coming. Um,
So yeah, and again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I do have some really lovely close friends from my last
yeah,
job. Um, but I don't really have anybody that I've met naturally, if I could
yeah,
use that term, in the last 10 years. There's nobody I've like met on the street and just kind of made friends with, or met through a group. In fairness, that's my fault for not joining any groups. But yeah, I definitely feel that
I find that
that my
people.
yeah, social
Yeah, I
circle has
mean, I
shrunk.
find that people get stuck. They kind of not. It's not cliquey because I think when we say, "Oh, they're really cliquey," like they don't let anybody in. But I think I meet people and they don't think, "Oh, this person's new to the area. Should we let them in our group?" I think people just kind of
Well,
just sort
yeah.
of say, "Oh, hi," and what I really need is people to say, "Oh, do you want to come for coffee?" But it's always me. I feel like I'm dating, you know. It's like the mum,
Yeah.
I've got kids, so I'm at the school gates and I have mums that I speak to, but I feel really weird if I say to them, "Oh, do you want to meet for a coffee sometime?" It just feels like a date. And then nobody's asked me for a coffee. So now we're at a bit of a stalemate. So I don't.
Has anybody come for a coffee with you when you've
Well, I
asked
have
them?
invited people round for a cup of tea at my house, like kid through, mums of kids my friends are with. And I get on fine, but they've got their own groups. They've all got their own
Hmm.
little groups that they've got going on, and I don't fit into that. And I think it's quite hard to work your way into established groups.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's also a challenge to, when you're a mum. I think it's hard to make time for
Yeah,
things because you've got to work around your kids
yeah,
and your families and that schedule. And I think that's probably true of the other people you're meeting as well, the
yeah,
parents you're meeting. Um, and spare time becomes so precious
yeah.
outside of
You
work
can't
and
just go
family
for a
time
drink.
that there's little
You
left
can't
over.
like be, there's different crowds, isn't there? There's like the music crowd, or the going down the pub crowd, or the hobby
Yeah.
after, in the evening or weekend crowd. And I think when you have children of a certain age, unless you've already got those friendship groups established, I think it becomes really tough to work your way in. I mean, it does help.
Definitely.
I mean, I think me and you are quite alike. We're quite chatty. We'll talk to anybody
Mm.
and we'll find a conversation subject. I think both of us could walk into a bar and make friends with somebody quite quickly.
I
Yeah, we
frequently
frequently
do.
do. I mean, we've both discussed the fact that we have faces that people just feel like they can just tell us their life stories. I mean, whether we want to be friends at the end of the evening is a different thing, but yeah, it is tough. It is tough making friends.
And I think for me, yeah, I mean, I'm in a different position to you. I don't have kids, but I do have a very demanding job, and which I've devoted the last, at least 15 years to. And I would say, yeah, it's become, it's, I realised I have few friends outside of my
Yeah,
profession, and few friends outside, new friends. I mean, I've got my old friends
sounds like
from growing
sounds like
up
a
and from
Dr.
uni,
Zeus.
but
Old friends, new friends,
few
few
friends,
friends,
blue
small
friends.
friends, big friends, close friends, far friends.
All right, so how do we solve our lonely problem? The childless woman of 40 who lives in the big city and doesn't have time to go out because of her demanding
And
job,
me,
and
the
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 and the
mother,
and the, and the suburban
suburban
mum.
mum of two.
Suburban? Suburban mum.
And suburban mother of two. Stuck out sort of slightly on the sticks. How do we make friends? P, I know you've got a list in front of you of things to how to make friends when you're 40.
Dr.
Dr.
Google.
Google. I can already see merchandise. We're teaming up with Google to have Dr. Google t-shirts.
I've lost it. I'm too tired.
Come on, P.
You've been cleaning all day.
Come on, P. We're in the last leg. You can do this.
Okay, so this article from 40nowwhat.co, Are You Lonesome Tonight? Making Friends After 40, summarises Jill Hassan's words of wisdom from Lonely Less, How to Connect with Others, Make Friends and Feel Less Lonely, published in June 2021, so it's current. So it suggests 4 main ideas. Go to a meetup event. Have a look at www.meetup.com, which enables people to find groups. Take a class through your local council's website, or searching adult education, adult learning. Volunteering for a cause or a local community initiative that interests you. Or do that. Or look out for organisations that connect people, as well as meetup groups, courses and classes in your area. There are national organisations with local groups and clubs whose specific aim is to bring people together so they can connect and make friends. So you got the WI.
Woo! Bringing out the big guns. The dog just looked at me like, holy shit, woman. Sorry, Tico.
We got men's sheds, but I don't think we'd be very welcome.
Oh, I don't know. I think they might welcome us down there.
They might like us in a men's shed.
Something, bit eye candy down the allotment.
Maybe. I certainly wouldn't mind a bit of men's shed action, particularly
if he's got a kettle down there. Whoa.
Or a pipe. The Townswomen's Guild. But I don't know if we'd qualify. It sounds a bit posh. Then there are some apps. We've got suggestions of Friender, the Friender app, togetherfriends.com, the Meet My Dog app.
Oh, yeah.
So we're supposed to be friends with canines.
Right.
Now. And then there's nextdoor.co.uk. Now, I don't have experience with many of these, but I am on nextdoor.co.uk for Brixton Town Centre, which is my group, apparently. And I have to say, it's going to be quite difficult to make any friends on there. It's so busy, and most of it is people offering tradesmen's services.
Right. So we've sussed that out.
Although there are some both sides.
See, I was going to say about meetup.com, it used to be quite a big thing back, I'm talking like 10, 12 years ago when it first came out. But now it's really a dead end. I would say if you're our age and you're looking to make friends, the best way is to go and find a local group. Pick a hobby that you like doing. Because, I've joined my local theatre group and I haven't made any best friends yet, but I have got lots of new friends and people that I know. And I've actually been out in the town and people have said, hello. And I said, oh, hello. And that is the nicest feeling when you do feel alone. It's when somebody just walks by and says that. You don't have to have a conversation. But I think it can be very... Well, we can talk about this in another episode about the anxiety side of things.
Sorry, pause, a plane's going over.
Bloody hell. That I need real people in real life. And I think if you can find a hobby, find a pottery class, a cooking class, a theatre group, a walking group, whatever it is that you even just sort of might like to try, I think that's the best way to go and make friends with people and just get in, say hello to people and get involved, and and you'll meet people. You might not be besties, but you will start to meet people, and I think that's the best way forward.
Yeah, and I would add to that, like you've been talking, you can't see me obviously, but I've been nodding along, but also listening to your stories of your drama group. You've made friends with a vicar, people who are women in their 90s, men in their 90s, young women who've just graduated from university, fellow mums, people your age, people older. all sorts
But we
of
all
people.
we all like
And
being in
that's-
theatre, so we all come to.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that they're 90 or what they do as a job, you know. And there's some that are like 21. You're thinking, what do I have in common? But you all are all there to do a show, and we had a great laugh. So I just think, you know, it feels good to get off Facebook. Actually, get off of being on screens.
So you would, of the tips from Jill
Yeah.
Hassan, you would suggest organisations that
Yeah.
connect people, volunteering,
Yeah, totally.
take a class, you know, do something, get out and do something.
And I know that is easier said than done for a lot of people, but I think if you're able to, and you've got the courage to do it, I think it's the best way to go make friends and meet new people.
Yeah.
But if you have any suggestions, problems, questions, or queries you'd like to send us, you can.
Yeah, and next week's episode, I'm obviously going to try out a meetup.com activity. We'd love to hear about any of your friendship stories or anything that you've experienced or anything we've said that you don't agree with, or if you're someone that she's deleted off Facebook and then lied to about it, please get in touch.
And I will read out an apology on air, naming everyone that I've ever ghosted. Next week's episode, we'll be discussing life online. So if you'd like to send us anything at all to discuss about what it's like to be online, the pitfalls, the joys, the highs, the lows. We'd love to hear from you. Find us at all the normal social media haunts at Aunty M Podcast. And that's it. From Besties, this is Aunty M saying good night.
And Aunty P, good night.
Good night, and it's good night from her. I think we need a better sign off, really.
Yeah, we can work on that.
Right. Bye.
Bye. Bye.